Hey everybody, this is Birdman Gaming, and today we're going to do something a little bit different than what I normally do. Um, it is May the 4th. Let me move this camera a little bit. Today is the day that the official Gen Con event catalog goes up to be able to be the first time. It'll be updated over the next 2 months. And you'll hear my water running in the background. That's so I can run back and forth, wash my hands, and keep my hands nice and warm because this is going to get cold real quick. We are going to make a meatloaf dinner. I've got people coming over today. And you can see I've already got my meat already here in the bowl. I've got 3 pounds of 80/20 ground chuck and 2 pounds of a mild ground sausage here. 3-2. This is a meal that my mom taught me how to make when I was a kid. When I was 15, she let me make meatloaf for the first time by myself. And she said, after eating a little bit, she said it was actually better than hers. One of the greatest compliments she ever gave me. That was 32 years ago. Yes, I'm 47, almost 48 now. But this is just, it's a meal to bring people together, enjoy company, and be nerds. Because my mom was a nerd, I'm a nerd. This is what we do. We always showed our love and our appreciation through food. So I'm going to get this made. I'm going to walk you through all of the ingredients and the steps to make this meatloaf. A lot of it is going to be by eye because I don't measure like my spices. Okay? But like, I've got a can of Italian diced tomatoes here. I have a cup of rehydrated onion because I can't chop onions anymore. I've got ketchup. I'm going to use probably about half of this bottle. I almost forgot. I need to get my crackers because we use crackers in this house on our meatloaf. So we will be using Ritz crackers. We will be using 1 full sleeve of Ritz crackers on this meatloaf. One full sleeve of Ritz crackers. And yes, I have a cloth over the handle of my cane, so I'm not transferring any germs onto my cane handle that I can't get clean. This cloth will get thrown out as soon as we're done with the loaf. And I have a separate cloth here for drying my hands. But yeah, we always showed our love and our appreciation for our friends through food. And you're probably wondering why I've got so much meat here. This is going to make it roughly a 5-pound meatloaf. People's going to come over. They're going to eat their fill. If I have any leftovers, I'll have food tomorrow. But growing up, we always had people in and out of the house visiting and, you know, hanging out or whatever. So this is what we would do. We would make a big meal so everybody could get their fill. I can't do the holiday meals by myself anymore. Mom passed 2 years ago. So this is the next best thing that I can personally do. And yes, right over here, you'll see the bottom, this black thing here. That is the stand for my monitor so that I can watch what my camera is seeing, so that I can make sure I'm in frame so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay? Now let me wash my hands, because this is about to get messy. You'll hear my water running. Again, that is so I can wash my hands. And keep my hands warm from this about to be really, really cold on the hands. Because in this house, we mix by hand. My hands patted dry. We don't need to be super dry here. So first things first, we're going to add our onion. We got about a little over half a cup here. Onion is very good in a loaf. Now, I don't know exactly what time I'm expecting people to be here. It is 11:37 a.m. right now. I'm shooting to have everything finished by 2 p.m. so that we can all sit around and talk, and I'll pop stuff up on my TV and everything. There goes the tomatoes. Go ahead and toss in 3 large eggs. So, one, making sure I don't get any shell in. But yeah, this gets messy. 2. And we're going to go with this one here. 3. No shell. Perfect. 3 large grade AA eggs. Rinse off this egg white. Okay. Dry the hand. Okay. Next, we are going to go with our garlic. Again, it's mainly to sight. And right now that looks about right there. You want to be able to see your garlic. Again, I'm part Italian, so we use garlic in a lot of stuff. I'll be using it later in my green beans even. Garlic, butter, bacon, and onion. Next is Italian seasoning. Now, I went with the generic. This is actually a decent Italian seasoning here. And we're just going to give it a good little coating there. Next, let's go ahead and crush up these crackers here. Now, I will be posting this to TikTok. I will be posting this to YouTube. I will probably be posting this, the videos, one or the other link in the Facebook group for Gen Con, because again, the Gen Con event catalog went up about 40 minutes ago. And that's what everybody's coming over today for, is to discuss Gen Con, if they're going to be able to go, budgets, all of that because this is my time. I'm a budget person and I'm a numbers guy. I've always been a numbers guy. As you can see, we have that nice and crushed. And some people will wonder why I do it like that. It's so that I can do it like this, and it's all nice and crushed. I don't get cracker dust everywhere on my countertop here. It's a lot more confined to where I can just pour right into the bowl. Okay, now we go with our ketchup. And this is going to be the first bit of ketchup added. And we will decide if we need more shortly. Warm up the hands one more time. All right. Hands are warm. And we go in and just start mixing by hand. Now, there's a reason we do this by hand. And it is extremely messy. Feels nasty. But oh, that's cold. That is really cold on the hand. Oh Lord, that's painful. Where is it? There it is. Put that in my trash. Okay. One, we don't have one of those mixers to fold everything in on itself. And two, you don't get as good of a blend as you do when you do it by hand. And we need to... that's why we keep our water warm. Because this is, if you're not used to ice cold on your fingers, this is going to be shocking. It will, I have arthritis, so it's also painful. I have bursitis, so in my left shoulder, so rolling and doing all of this two-handed is a chore, and I have fibromyalgia, so any pain is elevated. And we rinse our hand again to get it nice and warm to where we can mix some more. Now, through the years, I've made meatloaf for people. Again, I was taught well over 30 years ago. I made my first one by myself without Mom's assistance 32 years ago. And we were living on the south side of Indianapolis at the time. Mom had just started AA. Earlier in the school year. So we've actually lived across the street from an AA club. And Mom had her meeting. And she wanted me to make meatloaf while she was at the meeting. And so I'm like, okay, no problem, Mom. And so I did. Made the meatloaf. And when she got home, we sat around, we watched TV, we ate. And it would be one thing if you just told me that it was better than hers. That would just be, a mom pumping up their child. And I understand that. But no, she actually went back over to the AA club and told her friends, hey, You guys need to come over. This is actually better than mine. And so the legend of my meatloaf began. Again, I was 15 years old, and I didn't realize that it would mean as much as it does to me now. But since she passed, this is like the fourth, maybe the fifth meatloaf I've made since she's passed in 2 years. And thankfully my sink is like right behind me. So I don't need to use the cane too much. But everybody who has been over and had some of this loaf over the last 2 years has said it's actually the best loaf they've ever had. And it's just a Midwest country recipe that that she taught me back late 80s, maybe early 90s. Because again, it was 32 years ago, 1993, when I made that loaf, and she bragged about it. But I grew up in the Midwest, back in Indiana, and I actually, even though I call Indianapolis home, I actually grew up in East Central Indiana, very rural community. So this is a country meatloaf. Let's see if that's stiff. Looks like it's almost finished being mixed. Ooh, that section is cold. Anyway, so with the exception of one person over the last 32 years, I've only had one person complain, and that was my abusive ex, who I actually moved to the South to escape. I know this is a longer video than a lot of you guys will watch, but it takes longer to do. And you just start folding it in on itself. It gets everything nice and mixed once you get the meat and everything started to be incorporated. And you can see it's a stiff loaf. You actually want a stiffer loaf. One, it will hold its shape better when you start pouring it into your dish that you're going to be using, which I will be doing here in just momentarily. Get a couple more rotations on the loaf here. Yes, I will be recuperating from this, making this meal for about maybe a week. If I'm lucky, it'll be about 3 days. By about the time I go see my pain doctor on Wednesday. But if not, I'll be recovering from this for probably about a week, maybe a little bit longer, just because it takes so much out of me to do this. But I still like doing this for people because I love my friends. I don't get to see people that often. I'm pretty much here at the house by myself all the time now. Get out my dish. Out of the dishwasher. And we use a Pyrex dish. No, we do not put oil down in it or butter it or any of that. This is stiff enough to where it'll hold a good shape. I'll be able to put channels in it so that later on I can put a barbecue sauce on it. And the barbecue sauce that I'm going to be using is this right here. Hickory and brown sugar. It sounded good. And I usually try and use like a sweet and smoky style barbecue sauce on the top anyway. So, let's get this in frame. And you can see it's a good stiff loaf. It's going to be a very dense meatloaf. Put that in my sink. It's going to be a very dense meatloaf, which we like having a dense loaf. It means you don't need nearly as much to get full. And we press it down into our container. We do not put anything on top of it. No sauce, no nothing right now. Let's go ahead and get our oven on. Bake 375. And turn the light on our oven. So we go 375 as far as our temp is concerned on the oven. It will be in the oven for a total of about an hour and a half. At the 1 hour mark, we will take it out. There will be a grease puddle in the bottom. We will drain some of that grease out. And in the channels I'm getting ready to make in the loaf, we will pour some barbecue sauce into the channels. That way it's not all over the loaf, but you get a nice little cross section of loaf and barbecue. Loaf and barbecue. And we got soapy water in the bowl now. So we got this. Yeah, that's gonna hold a good shape. And you can see pieces of tomato there. So now for the channels. This is another reason why we like a good stiff loaf. We will just press a channel out. And this will be where we put our barbecue sauce. At the 1 hour mark of it being in the oven. Good channels. And no, I don't measure where I'm putting them. I'm just putting them. And yes, I am disabled. Being disabled doesn't mean that I have to give up on good food and good friends. Now, once this is in the oven, I get to take a little bit of a breather. When I take it out to put the barbecue sauce and drain what little bit of grease I'm going to drain off of it. After that, I start the sides, which will be, again, in about an hour, give or take, because it'll be a little while before that oven is at temp. And yes, I do have meat thermometers to make sure everything is nice and done when it's ready to come out. We will be doing meatloaf, mashed potatoes, seasoned green beans with bacon, garlic, butter, and onion. And we will have honey butter biscuits as well. So, let me wash my hands. Then we will do the outro to the video and get this ready to go in the oven. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, it's actually quite a bit different than what I normally do. With product openings, magic openings, and all of that. I had some people asking for a recipe, and because they saw pictures of the meal. And so I decided that this one here I would be posting. I would record and I would post so that when I'm gone, my recipe lives on. Just like Mom's gone now, this is technically, it started off as her recipe. We are now 32 years into me making it. Okay, so the amount of ketchup used, this is a 24-ounce bottle. We used about that much because I opened this today, specifically for this loaf. So I figure that's probably about a cup, maybe a cup and a half. That's our loaf. I will try and get a picture of it before I post this. But after it's all done and everything's set on the table, ready for people to get food. So you guys can see the after of all of this work. Anyway, it is 1:59 a.m. now. I've got 2 hours until, maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes until everything needs to be on the table and ready to be served. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, it's different than what I normally do. I hope you guys can make this on your own. And if you like it, let me know. With that being said, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Stay hydrated. Stay safe. I love you guys. And I will see you in the next video as soon as I get this to where I can hit stop on the screen. Hey everybody, this is Birdman Gaming again, and it is just after 2 o'clock. And I basically just got everything done. So here's our loaf. That was at $3.75 for 2.5 hours in total. You can see I still got some grease down in the bottom, but that's okay. Barbecued up, and there's the rest of that bottle of barbecue. Here's our green beans with butter, garlic, onion, and bacon. Of course, honey butter biscuits. And I already had one of those biscuits. Mashed potatoes, completely loaded with extra bacon. And we do have some country crock, some peppercorn ranch, and of course, the barbecue. I'm actually going to be putting some ketchup out as well, just in case somebody wants ketchup over extra barbecue sauce. But I will get these two videos put together into one, and then we will get them posted. Love you guys.